Little homework help for Unit 5, Lesson 13, the volume of a cylinder. Remember at the beginning of this lesson, we learned about having to know the difference between the volume of a cylinder and the volume of a rectangular prism, and that has to do with the base that is used. We can find the volume of pretty much any figure that has a face by taking the base times the height. But we have to understand that the different bases have different area or different ways to calculate the area. And for a circle, we need to calculate the area as pi times the radius squared. That's what you're going to do with each of these parts in this first problem. For example, the first one, match each set of information about a circle with the area of that circle. This circle has a radius of 40 units. By understanding that the radius is 4 units, we can take the area, or we can find the area by taking pi times the radius of 4 and taking it to the second power. That would give us an area of pi times 16. That might be written in various different ways, but we know that only one of these is right, so that's going to give us that one for the answer, the fourth option. If we look at the next one, it has a radius of 10 units. So our area would be equal to pi times the radius of 10 to the second power. And then, of course, we go ahead and work with that one to find out that the area is equal to 100 times pi. But I don't see anything with 100 times pi. None of these ones are true. And we'd say approximately 314 square units. What we can recognize with that is that that response came as a result of approximating pi to 3 and 1400ths and then multiplying it times 100. This next one, I want you to be really careful because part C, they said diameter. Make sure to recognize the diameter is 16 units. What does that mean about the radius? Because radius is equal to diameter divided by 2. So pay attention to that. Be careful. Finally, the circle D has a circumference of 4 pi units. Remember how we found circumference. And remember how we find pi. And that's how we're going to go ahead and find this information. And I think because I'm such a nice guy, I'm going to tell you how to find circumference. Circumference is equal to 2 times the pi times the radius. So what we found with this is something just a little bit different. It has a circumference of 4 times pi. That means that what we can do with that is we can take away the circumference and we can substitute 4 times pi. And then if I can do the right kind of division here and do the right kind of work, I can find the radius, okay? With that radius, remember, all I need to do is I need to get r by itself. So if I'm going to divide this, that's multiplication, divide this all by 2 times pi and 2 times pi. And what happens is pi divided by pi is 1. So that's gone. 4 pi divided by 2 pi is just simply 2 for the radius. You're welcome. Moving on to the next ones, I'm not going to have you sketch cylinders or figure out all the farm animals, but I am going to have you figure out this one. 3 cylinders have a height of 8 centimeters. Those cylinders are going to look like this. This is how I draw mine typically. Okay, 3 cylinders. Oh, that wasn't very good though. They're all the same height. Okay, you'll have to bear with me. They're not all perfect. They're definitely not the same height, so none of this is to scale. The first one has a radius of 1 and a height of 8. The second one has a radius of 2 with a height of 8. And the third one has a radius of 3 with a height of 8. Your job is to be able to find the volume of each of those, but be careful when we do this. I'm going to do part B for you. It says find the volume of the second cylinder. Use pi to represent the pi symbol. So when we do this, we're going to be getting this done approximated, or not approximated, but for the value of pi. And so we'll say the volume is equal to the area of the base, which is a circle, pi times the radius squared, multiplied by the height. So the volume is equal to pi times a radius of 2 raised to the second power times 8, or a volume of 32 times pi. Because 2 times 2 is 4, 8 times 4 is 32. And so when I write this in here, they actually their example is our answer, 32 times pi. There you go. Let's look at the third part C, and see if there's anything tricky. Find the volume of the third cylinder. No problem. Find it the same way as I showed in the example. The next one, 1 quart container contains tomato soup. It's like a rectangular prism. So there's a rectangle. We give it some dimension, and now we end up with a rectangular prism that is 1 quart, which is equal to 32 ounces. And then we're going to be putting soup in a bowl, and that bowl holds 8 ounces. So if that's the case, a soup bowl shaped like a hemisphere, meaning a half of a sphere, how many bowls will the soup container fill with that 1 quart, be filled with 1 quart of tomato soup? And then the last question, talking about 2 students that join a puzzle solving club and they get faster at finishing the puzzles. That's cool because that means getting faster means their time to complete the puzzle decreases over any number of days of practice. We recognize that this point right here in the middle, where the cross looks like about 7-4, seems to be the place where the 2 were running at the exact same time. Your job is to match up student A and student B to lines L and M. So remember, student A improves their time faster. So we recognize this one, student A is faster, improvement. Then student B, who you'll match up in the next one. And so student A, which line represents a faster improvement? Keep in mind the key to all of this is recognizing the slope as a rate of change for those students. You'll have to figure out which one is L, which one is M, and then finally part C, which student was faster at puzzle solving before practice. And that's it for today for your homework. Thanks for checking in. Have a great day.